All right, so last time I left you guys, I think I was filling in this section here. And just a quick reminder, this basically is the design. And this is what I'm sorry, I think it was read this way. This is what I showed you a couple videos ago on breaking up the space into 5 different shapes and then applying stripes or different designs to those areas. One thing I do want you to do is if you ever do a vanishing point or lines converging to a vanishing point, make sure it's off of the square so they don't converge on the square, because it's really difficult to paint all those little tiny lines. And if you crop it off like that, it's a lot easier to paint. So you can kind of see here where I've done 3 of the quadrants except the 4th one. I'm just going to go through this with you as a class to show you what this should look like complete. Should look like complete. Of course, all this will be erased. All this will be erased, but you can see that I'm utilizing my board, or I can tape paper behind this, and I can extend these lines because I might have to go further out in order to apply the rest of those lines in. All right, so what I'm going to do here is first I'm going to put these lines in. If you look here, I'm just going to do that on this side, but I have to establish where this point is. And I'm going to slide this up just a second. I'm going to establish where this point is. And to do that, I'm going to grab a piece of tracing paper. I showed you a trick yesterday of using paper, but tracing paper is probably a little easier. So what I'm going to do is to locate exactly where this point is on this side, I'm going to put it in on this side. And you can see that I'm lining the tracing paper up with this line perfectly. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put a little dot here. And then I'm going to put a line here. I could use my ruler, but I think I'll move the paper, so I'm just gonna, so I'm outlining this line here, and all I have is a line and a dot there. I turn it this way, I line it up with this side, and I line the line up that I drew, and I make sure that this is in line right along here as well, because if it's a little crooked, it's not gonna be perfect. And then I'm just gonna put a little dot. And that's it. That's how fast I figured that out. It's easier when you use paper that's already cut straight. And if you take your time, make sure your lines are vertical and all that stuff, everything should line up. So if you look at these lines right here, if I put these in, the lines should line up pretty close, if not right at the corner of these guys, if everything is perfectly laid out. Again, I don't want you to trace this whole design, flip it this way, and then try to do a graphite transfer. It never transfers well. It's going to be a little off, and you're going to have to make these adjustments, and then you might as well just do the whole thing over again. Okay, so I have my little line here. Now, yesterday I showed you guys how to measure 1/2 inch all the way across this line. Remember, we put this line in, we just, this line exists here. And I'm using this line as a measuring point every 1/2 inch to connect here. Eventually I'm going to erase this line out, just like I would, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I think you can see it. Just like I'm going to erase this line out. Now I don't need it anymore. It's, of course, I can finish that on my own. But when I put these lines in, it was 1/2 inch starting from this spot over in this direction. Now I have to start from this point in this direction. I'll show you how I achieve that point. So I'm going to erase these dots here because I do not want to mistake them for anything else. I'm going to redraw this line back in. Okay, and then, so the reason why I put this here is because this is where I started yesterday on the one that's further up here. And I guess you can just see that, right? It's right here. And so what I did, or what you can do, is just take take the tracing paper, line it up again, and just put a little dot. And the nice thing about tracing paper, you can turn it over or upside down or whatever, and then you can get that same dot. So, because it's transparent. And then line it up here exactly as you had it. And you can kind of see I have that same dot right now. Bing. Okay? So, that's where I'm going to start. And I'm using my red graph ruler. I'm just lining any number up with that little dot I made. And then along that line, I'm going to measure every half of an inch. And I'm gonna make these lines a little bit bigger just so I don't confuse myself with those ghost dots I have from the previous measurement. They're pretty close to it. Every half an inch. I'm not sure how far I need to go here, but, oops, I just moved it. Hold on a second. There we go. I'll take it down a little, down to here, I suppose, should be, and I'll do one more just in case. Okay, so you see those little dots there. I'm going to use those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this point. I'm going to slide this up. Take this point here. I'm going to connect it to intersect it with that, all these marks that I put where it overlaps the line where these two lines intersect right there. Because I put these big long dashes, just don't take any part of that, only where they intersect right here. There's a little tiny dot. You can make a dot if you want. So then I'm just gonna, something looked weird. Something looked weird there. Just take it straight down. And I'm bringing it all the way down to this line here. And again, I'm using a 2H pencil right now. Oops. I forgot to go half inches in this direction as well. So I'm going to add a few more. I'm not sure how far I need to go. Maybe I have to go out that far, I'm not sure. And one more. So you can kind of see there's that little section there, and it exists on all of them. So it's that location of the original dot seems to be accurate. Now, the true test is when you're bringing these lines over, and if they match up to the lines that you drew right here, right on that line. That's the trick. And they do. It's 1, 2. And if it's a little bit off, just a hair, not a big deal. I'm more concerned with it looking good. So I don't have to go back and redraw every single thing. Okay, so you can kind of see how that's completed there. Now, do you see how these lines overlap that line? I'm just going to put little tiny dots right where they intersect. And, which I forgot to do, I'm going to extend this line because you can kind of see it's extended all the way out here. But I'm going to need it probably, as you can see, I probably went a few out there. So I'm going to extend these lines until they intersect, and it looks like the next one won't do it. Because when I centered this, I didn't center it perfectly. I had more room on this side than I do this side, so I'll show you how to compensate that. And again, I'm just going to put the rest of the dots here. The reason I say put these dots in is it's easier for you to line them up with another dot. Other than that, you just kind of guess. You go through it too quickly, and things do not line up perfectly. doesn't line up perfectly, it doesn't look good. So take your time drawing this out, mapping this out. You can see the concentric design forming. Okay. Now, if you look at, see this dot here and this dot here? Those two dots were for these lines and these lines. I put a dot here, and that was for these lines. Now I need to put a dot on this side. So again, I'm gonna use my tracing paper. Line it up with the center. And then I'm going to draw a line here. And then I'm going to put a little dot right here. I'm putting it right above that dot. So what I'm going to do is slide this down so you can see what I'm doing. Flip it. Put it right on that line. Line it up with the center line again. And I'm going to put a dot right here. And basically that's the dot right there. See how fast that is? So these little dots are equally distant on both sides, on all four sides, and it's just a fast way of getting the information. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect these dots with that dot there. And I'm going to run it into this part, because you can see this is a different design, this is a different design. And another little trick, I think I showed you this before, I put the pencil right on the point. I run my ruler or straight edge right over to it, lean it to the other, connect it to the other dot, which is right where my finger with the Band-Aid is, and then I connect it. You can see where these two just met up perfectly. That's awesome. I don't have enough room. I don't know if you can tell, but I ran out of room for the space of the line, but I do have it on this side. So what I can do is I can just take my tracing paper, match it up with the line, put a line here, and then the corner there, turn it on the other side, line it up with that line, put a little dot here, and then all I gotta do is connect that dot to that other dot that I made, and it should connect right there. Bam, done. That's how fast that can be. You can see it's the same on the other side. So that lined up, that was the most important part that I needed to line up. And I'm just gonna put the rest of these in. Basically, that's it. I'm done that part. Now I'm gonna put these in and this in. This is really simple. How I did this before, I believe, when I was looking at this, let's turn it upside down. That's kind of how it's going to go, right like that. So I measured on this side and I measured on this side. So that means I will measure from the corner here down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line any red line with that corner and follow that line. I'm going to go 1/4 inch all the way down. Not all the way down, but about halfway, 2/3. That should be enough. And I believe I go from the corner here, right? I do, but I just lost. Oh, okay. I'm going to erase these lines here because, or these little dots here, they're going to confuse me. I'm going to reestablish that line again. And then I'm going to start putting these 1/2 inch dots in, or 1/4 inch dots in. Marks, whatever you want to call them. That's about enough. What I do next is I'm going to line, this is a really good trick. Sometimes I'll use this, but I like to use a T-square upside down or another triangle. And I'm going to line the triangle up with this line. Hopefully you can see that from the angle. And I make it as parallel to that line as I possibly can. I put my weight of my body down here. I run this up to the other side. And I put my palm of my hand and I put the weight of my body on this thing. So I'm leaning completely here and it's not moving and it stabilizes it. So I could just slide this and it hits those, I can hit those corner lines. Oops. Perfectly. If your palm starts to slide and it's not parallel, then fix it. Change it. So you can kind of see I don't need any more. I think I didn't even need that last one. I'll explain what I'm doing in a second, kind of see the design there. Doing the same thing here. Trying to line it up, hold it down, put the weight of your body on the other side, slide it up, using my finger to hold it in place, and basically kind of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. You can kind of see the design forming, and then I can just take all these out. That's how I did each one of those shapes, and it almost looks like, I think I said it was gonna look like a figure 8. Because that's how it originally was. You flip it, and then it forms the figure 8. This one's really simple. I'll do that, and then I'm going to end the video. How I did this, you can see these dots right here, these dots here. So what I did is I'm taking one of these little red lines, and I'm lining it up. And I'm going to angle it towards that corner, but I'm lining it up with this line that's right here. I'm making it perfectly in line with it. And then I'm going to do the same 1/4 inch distances. I'd say don't do anything. I mean, you can go smaller than 1/4 inch if you want, but it's going to be a lot of painting and taping. 1/4 inch is pretty good in terms of stripes. I would say 1/2 inch is pretty big, but you want a variety of thin and fat. Next thing I do, again, I'm going to do the slide technique. I'm going to put it here. Actually, I think I'm going to, just so you get a better view of what I'm doing, I'm going to go this direction. So again, I'm holding it, or I'm making it perfectly parallel. Slide this up to it. Oh, man, see, it slid on me. I got to turn it this way just a little bit. Awkward for my body. All right, so put this here, and then put your lines in. And you kind of see they're lining up pretty well with the lines on this side. You just take your time and focus. This drawing layout shouldn't take that long. And then once you have this the way you want it, then you can go in and clean it up and get rid of all the extra lines. If you want to clean this up, you can just use a larger eraser. And here's another little trick too. You can use the other side of a piece of paper. Cover what you don't want to erase. And then take off the rest and you get a nice line. Now, in terms of design, we'll talk about color and application and opportunities in terms of gradients and flipping and whatever. That's a whole another video. I just want to show you this one. This is kind of the design I was getting into. You can kind of see this little quadrant here. I would really like to see what this looks like, but since I'm complete this, I'll probably continue on with my examples here, and maybe my own pet project, I might pursue this one. But you kind of see all these different designs, and again, I want you to explore lots of different types of designs. Just don't go with your first inclination and make it and make a design. Figure it out. Work with them for a little bit. Okay.